Hi, I'm Marcus from Marcus Language Academy, and today I like to explain a little bit more about German grammar, which is also part of my course for beginners, where you learn by following a story. So today's topic is the past tense in German. So let's get started. In German we have two different past tenses. First is called Präteritum and the second one is called Perfekt. You see also I use different color schemes. For Präteritum I use a black background color and for Perfekt I use a gray background color. So I will do the same in my course when you listen to my story. Präteritum actually we use when we read a book, so it's the written language. And as well we use it when we use the verb sein, haben and the modal verbs. So when we speak we also use for those verbs Präteritum. But everything else in the written language we would use Präteritum. So it's a little bit different to English where we depend on the situation. Here it's more like a style. And perfect we would use for all the other verbs when we speak, except sein, haben and modal verbs. Okay, so no, that's really important. Okay, so let's see how it works. So let's start with Präteritum for our written language. Let's take a regular verb like lernen, to learn. The first person we would say ich lernte. So we have the root of the verb lernen and we add te and that makes it past tense. No? Ich lernte Deutsch, I learned German. In the image you see the black background color because it's Präteritum. Leo, the person is green because it's the subject and Deutsch is blue because it's accusative. So in second person it becomes du lerntest Deutsch. No, you learned Deutsch. So we add st as an ending for the second person. In third person we have lernte Deutsch. So there is no actually a new ending. So it's the same like in first person, ich lernte oder lernte. No? And plural we add an n. Wir lernten. No? We learned German. Wir lernten Deutsch. Ihr lerntet Deutsch. We add a t. You all learned German. And they learned German. Sie lernten Deutsch. It's the same like first person plural. Wir lernten, sie lernten. Okay. Let's see now an irregular verb in Präteritum, like the verb sprechen, to speak. So here we say ich sprach Deutsch, I spoke German, ich sprach. So there's a change from the E to an A. And there is no TE applied, because this change shows us already that's past tense. In second person we add the st, so du sprachst Deutsch. And third person it's the same, sprach, no ending, no te, but the change of the root. And in plural it's still irregular. Wir sprachen, we add en, wir sprachen Deutsch. Ihr spracht Deutsch, no? And sie sprachen Deutsch. So everywhere there's the change of the root. And there's no te applied, but there are some endings. Okay, so stay with this. And so there are different types of irregular verbs. That's an example, but there are different changes of vowels. So you have in my course more examples of those things. But let's see the really important verb to be and how it transforms into Präteritum. In first person it would be ich war, I was. Ich war Leo, I was Leo. In second person, so it's quite irregular, would be du warst Leo. So we add again st and it still stays really irregular. In third person, war Leo. No ending, just war. In plural, wir waren. We add en. Wir waren Leo und Lina. Ihr wart Leo und Lina, and sie waren Leo und Lina. So we see quite irregular, but the endings are a little bit more the same like for irregular verbs in Präteritum. The verb haben, also quite important, changes this way. Ich hatte. So here the B disappears, so it's irregular, and we add TE. So it's a little bit strange, a little bit special, but just remember, ich hatte ein Auto. I had a car. Ich hatte ein Auto. Du hattest ein Auto. You had a car. Er hatte ein Auto. He had a car. Wir hatten ein Auto. We had a car. Ihr hattet, no, with the T at the end, ihr hattet ein Auto. And sie hatten ein Auto. So that's important because the verb to be, to have, quite important, and they use always when we speak Präteritum. Okay, so let's jump to perfect. Perfect, it's actually we use all verbs when we talk in perfect except the verb to be, the verb to have, and the modal verbs. So let's see an example of a regular verb, lernen. Here for perfect we need to add an auxiliary verb, haben. So let's see an example. Ich habe Deutsch gelernt. I have German learned. So it's literally, okay? You see it's a different structure. In English would be I have learned German, but in German we actually say ich habe Deutsch gelernt. I have German learned. So we conjugate the auxiliary with ich habe, and then we put at the end the participle gelernt. So we put ge in front of the root and in the end a t, gelernt. And in second person it's du hast Deutsch gelernt. Du hast gelernt. So the participle doesn't change like in English, it stays learned, but the auxiliary verb changes. Du hast. In third person it would be er hat gelernt. Er hat Deutsch gelernt. Im Plural, wir haben gelernt, wir haben Deutsch gelernt. Ihr habt gelernt, ihr habt Deutsch gelernt. And sie haben gelernt, sie haben Deutsch gelernt. So actually we conjugate the auxiliary verb like haben, like almost like present tense, and we add the participle to build our perfect. Okay? As well, we have some irregular, no, it's not irregular, but the participle also could end, in the case of schlafen, in en. So, ich habe im Bett geschlafen. I have in the bed slept. So, instead of t at the end in the participle, we have en. That also could be. So, ich habe geschlafen. The good thing is, the rest doesn't change, so we do the same like with the regular T ending. So du hast geschlafen, er hat geschlafen, wir haben geschlafen, ihr habt geschlafen, sie haben geschlafen. But there's also some irregular verbs, they change in the participle the root, like sprechen. So here we have ich habe Deutsch gesprochen. I have German spoken. It's a bit like in English, to speak, and then we have spoken, no? Gesprochen. And if we have an irregular verb, it normally ends in en and not in a t. Okay, so that's a good hint, no? To remember, gesprochen ends in en. And the rest of the persons, obviously, it's the same. Du hast gesprochen, er hat gesprochen, wir haben gesprochen, ihr habt gesprochen und sie haben gesprochen. Okay, so that's a little bit the perfect, no? But there's one another thing we need to know. Because if we have verbs like fahren, where we move from A to B, we apply a different auxiliary verb. We don't apply haben as an auxiliary verb. We apply sein. So here we would say, ich bin Auto gefahren. It's like I have car driven or I am car driven. Okay, so because those verbs, no, it's a displacement from A to B, or it could be also a change of states. For example, if I die, so I'm alive and then I'm dead. No, those verbs will take as an auxiliary the verb to be. And my little symbol in my course is this AB symbol. So remember this. And then it's actually du bist gefahren, you have car driven or you are car driven. Er ist Auto gefahren. Wir sind Auto gefahren. Ihr seid Auto gefahren. Sie sind Auto gefahren. And most verbs here take in the participle the en ending. Very less take a t. So almost all verbs take in the participle en, like in gefahren. Okay, but please remember, for displacement and change of state, we take the auxiliary verb sein. There are also irregular verbs, for example, fliegen, to fly, and we would say here, because there's a change in the route, ich bin nach Berlin geflogen. I have or I am to Berlin flown. No? So it's like in English, it's also irregular, geflogen. No? And the rest of the person, obviously, it changes. It's the same. So du bist geflogen, er ist geflogen, wir sind geflogen, ihr seid geflogen, sie sind geflogen. So that's a little bit tricky part, but in my course, no, if you see the AB symbol, remember we take the auxiliary verb sein. So those are the two past tenses, no, the black color for Präteritum, and for perfect we use the gray background color. And so all verbs use normally when we speak perfect, except the verbs sein, haben and modal verbs. And if you read the book, you will find Präteritum. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy my videos, and if you like to learn German with my story course, no, then take a look, and see you soon with our next topic.